This SoonerScoop.com video is streaming in crystal clear 4K resolution on YouTube thanks to Enjoy Vision in Oklahoma City. Don't miss a moment on or off the field. Make every day a highlight with LASIK at Enjoy Vision. Enjoy Vision. This is where Sooner Scoop LASIKs. Hello and welcome back. Eddie Brodosovich, George Stoya here from the SoonerScoop.com studios. Welcome back to the SoonerScoop.com YouTube channel. No practice. No practice on a Thursday. A little bit of a reset, recovery, all the things that I guess you have to do.
No injuries.
You shouldn't. There you go. All right, welcome back. We had a little bit more to get into here on the program today, talking to John Mateer, Gentry Williams, Marvin Jones Jr., who, I think we probably need to talk about a little bit more, as well as Jaren Kanak, who spoke to the media on Wednesday after practice. You can catch the Brent Venables recap from everything that happened on Wednesday with the Sooners. We also did another practice report with some of the players. So this is kind of like a little bit of a fun bag, if you will, in terms of cleanup from the rest of the week as Oklahoma continues the second week of preseason practice. Plenty of notes up on the Crimson Quarter. Good time to join SoonerScoop.com. You can do so for just $1. And Georgia, it's starting to feel a little bit more like football season as we get closer and closer to the August 30th kickoff.
It is hot as hell.
It is hot as hell, and that's one sign.
Yes, but yeah, it feels like we are getting really, really close. I know we did a really good breakdown today too on the unofficial 40, so make sure to check that out because we talked a lot about fall camp as well as some recruiting stuff.
No doubt about it. All right, before we get into hearing from Gentry Williams and John Mateer and the competition at hand at OU practice, which sounds like it's a little bit more not as one-sided as it was a year ago, right? With an offense that's certainly has
at least
the makings,
competent.
we think. Yeah, at least competent, that they're going to be able to pick up a couple first downs. Let us tell you about our good friends over at HomefieldApparel.com. And it is that time of the year that you really know that it's that time of the year when you see the Platinum Box that is coming out on Friday, August 8th.
Yeah, that's tomorrow. And
you can see it right here on the screen.
That's a pretty sweet hoodie.
I like that. Yeah, I like all the stuff that Homefield Apparel comes out with. We obviously told you about them last year when they were, they came into Dorman and sold an ton of apparel.
Yeah.
All you got to do is go to homefieldapparel.com. And as you see here, as Carrie navigates the website here, you can sign up to get the Platinum Box or have an opportunity to get the Platinum Box.
Yeah, and I'm on their email list and text list, so signing up for the updates is definitely worth it.
Obviously, Homefield Apparel, the premium collegiate apparel brand based out of Indianapolis, comfortable, officially licensed apparel with vintage college designs. You saw all about them this past year, and as you see on the screen there, just go to homefieldapparel.com, and they are good people over there. They're going to take care of us as well as take care of you out there getting ready for football season. It's kind of that start of the time where people are starting to think about, what do I want to wear during some of these game days coming up this season.
Yeah, 30 days from the Michigan game. Obviously 23 days from the season opener, but 30 days from Michigan's pretty
crazy.
Pretty big time.
Feels good. The Platinum Boxes, by the way, they are limited, so you're going to want to go sign up. Go to homefieldapparel.com, and I think it's first come, first serve, basically. You want to be able to get in there into the queue. So, all right, let's get into a little bit of what we've been talking about, obviously, here through the last couple of weeks. Oklahoma opening up preseason practice, and as we said at the top, if nothing else, it does seem like there's a friendly competition, and John Mateer's been in the middle of that with his trash talking.
Yeah, he's certainly somebody that likes to chirp, let you know how he's doing, and I think that especially on the offense, I think they need some of that. They need some of that, confidence, get some of their swagger back, especially the guys that are returning, and I think not just Mateer, but several of these guys, we heard about it, with Keontae Lewis, as well as, Isaiah Satania, guys that are pretty vocal out there. And I think that's good for the offense to kind of have some of that, vocal leadership and also kind of, talk some trash. And it sounds like they've had every right to. It sounds like they've given the defense some fits at times.
I don't expect guys to come into the media room and tell them, yeah, it's been tough adjusting to everything. Yeah. But it does seem like everybody that they brought in has made a very quick adjustment to life at Oklahoma. And obviously that's going to be different when school starts, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But it's been a little bit surprising. Maybe it's easier for John Mateer, but even somebody like a Marvin Jones Jr., he's gone through this process before.
Yeah, I think that Oklahoma has built a pretty good culture. Like, say what you want about Brent Venables as a football coach. I think he's done a damn good job of building a very positive culture in that locker room. I mean, we hear that all the time. They very rarely have off the field issues, things like that. So I think it's a very welcoming environment. And, a lot of these guys that they've brought in are going to play a lot.
Sure.
Marvin Jones Jr., I think, is going to play a ton. You mentioned the wide receivers. They're going to play a lot. Obviously, John Mateer's the starting quarterback. But I do think that it's been pretty good so far.
Here are a number of Oklahoma players, including John Mateer, talking about just the back and forth that they've had at practice.
Exciting, more than anything, I like the competitive, it goes back and forth, but that's how you want it. They push us, we push them. We might fight, go back and forth and, fight during the play. They're going to get us, we're going to get them, but at the end of the day, we shake hands, we just keep going, and I love that.
I'd say it wasn't because of anything that happened before. I would just say, I know from playing football, it gets people going a little bit, and that's what you need on this field. It's practice 4 and it's great, but come here soon, it's going to be, damn, it's practice, it's hot, this and that. So you can get everybody going a little bit more, and that comes from me. I'm the quarterback, I'm the leader. So I got to do it, and I love doing it. You talk a little crap, you get the best out of everybody. So.
Just every day we wake up just so blessed, man. We get to play football. We wake up in the morning, run around, hit each other. How could you not, be excited out there? Every day, Chavis, if you see him, man, he brings it every day. So, man, it's hard to be out there and be quiet and sluggish, man. We're playing football at the end of the day, so.
He got a little mockiness to him, and we like that in the quarterback. And we like how he talks to the offense. He puts belief into them. So when Kip and RJ and R. Mason are talking to us, he puts belief into us to go back and go stop him. It's been great.
George, we talked about John Mateer and, kind of what he was undertaking at the beginning of the spring. One of the first things that, popped off the page was just how much he ingratiated himself. He certainly became a leader on that side of the football that they just probably didn't have to a certain extent a year ago in Jackson Arnold or Michael Hawkins. Obviously an awkward spot for Michael Hawkins and the way that he stepped into the starter role and was still young within the program. But John Mateer's talked about, kind of taking this thing through the summer, developing other wide receivers around him. And obviously with Javanni Gibson, we knew that he had a really good relationship with him during the spring. They've had to find other guys, though, while Javanni's still working his way back from the broken ankle.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that they have found some guys. I mean, we've mentioned them a lot on this show, and it seems like there's new guys emerging every single day, which is great. That wasn't the case a year ago. Last year, it was a lot of Deion Burks is what we heard about in camp, and he was kind of the only guy that was really showing a whole lot. This year, it's a different story, and I think that for Mateer, as a guy that's played in this system, knows the offense, he's been able to teach it to these guys, especially throughout the summer. I know he organized a lot of extra throwing sessions and things like that to walk through the playbook and also just get the timing down. And it sounds like that paid dividends because now in fall camp, the offense is clicking maybe better than some expected.
Here is John Mateer talking about the process that went into the summer, developing chemistry with some of these other wide receivers, and also a little bit of an update on Javanni Gibson that I think you guys will like.
Yeah, no doubt. The summer's huge. Summer's all about investing your time. There's no classes. There's no, there's not a whole lot going on. You can get a good sleep schedule because we're not waking up too early. Some people are, but but you just got so much time to be around people and be in the meeting room together, and it's huge. Just to learn the plays, and we're all in a really good spot.
What kind of development have you seen from Zion Kearney just in general? It sounds like he's had a pretty good start.
Yeah, he's really good. He's impressing a lot of people. You can see his size. He's a young guy, but he looks old. He's built, and he can move, so we're going to get a lot out of him.
John, you've got a situation, Javanni's going to come back at some point, and you know how good of a player he is. But for you, how much do you have to kind of think about getting other guys to develop when he's not there and working with the tight ends and getting them more involved and just younger like Zion and new guys that have come in? How much did you kind of look at that on a day-to-day basis and throughout the offseason?
Javanni's definitely a big piece, and he had a super impressive spring, as a lot of y'all know, but I don't even think it's everybody's going to be ready no matter what, and it's out, and he's out, and it sucks. But they're going to be ready, not because he's going to be out. Even if he was in, I'd push them to get ready the same way. But they're taking the challenge real well, and Javanni's one of the guys staying after the walkthroughs, so he'll be ready when he comes back. It's not going to be an easy process.
Talked a little bit about that today on the Unofficial 40 with Javanni Gibson. What would that timeline look like?
Yeah.
Hopefully sooner than later, right? At worst, we hope that you would think that he could get back by an OU Texas or a Kent State the week before.
Yeah, I think it's going to be September. I think that's kind of the timeline they're hoping for. When in September?
Sure.
I have no idea.
The bye week on September 26th as well. Maybe that comes at the right time after those first 3 games of the season.
I think there's still hope on Javanni's side of things that he could play by Michigan, and that would be great.
Sure.
But I think to hear about him going through walkthroughs, being engaged, I mean, we see him when we're out there. He's always joking around. He's in the huddle. He's talking to John Mateer. He's talking to Ben Arbuckle, Emmett Jones, all of those things that you want to see. That tells you that, okay, he expects to play at some point. Like, he's trying to make sure that he's ready. And it does sound like, though, that in his absence, there's been a lot of guys kind of start to stand out.
That's good news for Oklahoma. It's hard to imagine that we are now 6 practices into the preseason. This is kind of the first time that we've really talked about Jaren Kanak at the tight end position. We've talked about Will Huggins. Carson Kent certainly seemed to make a name for himself here early in camp, but it was good to see Jaren on Wednesday at media. Where's he at right now? Just with that tight end position, because I think that there's going to be some stuff to hear from Kendall Daniels that maybe makes you think he's adjusted a little bit better than we thought he would coming out of the spring.
He's certainly been given an opportunity, just like everybody in that position group right now. I think they're waiting for somebody to emerge. I think Jaren is somebody that's a really good playmaker. You think back to his time at Hayes, Kansas in high school. He was a great offensive player. I mean, they found ways to get him the ball. Was a really good, I think he played kind of running back, quarterback.
Did a little bit of everything for him.
Yeah, he did a little bit of everything. I think he's kind of shown that he can do some good stuff with the ball in his hands. I think he's a good pass catcher. I think he's working on his route running. I think the physical nature of blocking and all of that has been an adjustment, that getting the fundamentals down. He's a smaller guy. He's the smallest tight end they have at 6'2", and I think he's only about 225, 230. So he's small, but I wonder, can they find a role for a guy like this? Obviously, he's dedicated. You think back to the spring when he gave that great interview about, why he chose to stay at Oklahoma, why he chose to, make the move to tight end, which was basically, I want to, offer something to this university and play here. Like, I just feels like they're going to find a way to use him. I just don't know what it is and how often it is. Like you said, Carson Kent, I think they're going to find a role for him as well as Will Huggins. But it does sound like Jaren's having a pretty good fall camp. There's been a couple times where I've heard, hey, he caught a touchdown pass in the team period today. That's the kind of stuff you want to hear if you're going to get on the field.
I think it was the first day that OU tweeted out a picture of him in the end zone. Here is Jaren Kanak talking about the move to tight end now that they're into the fall, as well as some pretty high praise from Kendall Daniels.
Yeah, I mean, we all just work together and we all just play for each other. You know what I mean? We got a bunch of great athletes out here that really it'd be easy to be an individual out here. You know what I mean? But you look around and every single guy is playing for the guy next to him. The guys are perimeter blocking for the receivers. The receivers are blocking for their other receivers. You know what I mean? And so it's a really cool thing to see.
What's that comfort level for yourself since spring?
It's obviously spring helped a ton. Coming into a new position that I haven't played in a while. It's just getting better every single day. I've always had a pretty good process, as far as recovery goes, and obviously you're doing a lot of different things, and so I had to change up my recovery a little bit. I had to stretch the hamstrings a little more in the spring. They were getting a little more tighter, and so I just kind of tweaking my recovery, maybe even taking it a little more seriously, just because at the end of the day I'm running a lot more, I'm blocking a lot and being physical every play. It's a little different, and so just adjusting my routine to help fit that a little better.
When he goes in one-on-ones, I want to go against him because he makes me better. Blocking drills, I want to go against him. His hands he has good hands, and he's a good tight end, blocking tight end. He's fun to be around. He's always joking around, but when it's time to work, it's time to work, So I feel like me and him going at it every day is only going to make each other better, and I feel like he's going to make a lot of plays.
I know this is his first year at tight end. What makes him such a difficult matchup to guard?
His route running. I played against a lot of tight ends, a lot of tall tight ends, a lot of bigger tight ends, and he blocks like you can get a big tight end that's good at blocking that don't want to block. He's good at blocking and he wants to block and he wants to put you on your back. He's going to push you after the play. 2 seconds after the whistle's blown, he's gonna keep pushing you. So he just that mind game of him wanting to do those type of things. That's what's gonna get defenders out of their game and getting out of. And then when you think he's blocking, he's gonna release for a route and catch it. He's got really good hands, and I feel like that. I played against a lot of tight ends.
he's up there with the top ones.
Yeah, no doubt. I've always been a physical football player, I like to say, and obviously being undersized at the position that I play, I kind of got to bring that edge of having a little bit of grit to me and a little bit of aggression, and I have natural leverage, as what Coach Findlay says. It's a nice way of calling me short, but I have very natural leverage, so I can get up and under guys and really be physical with them, and so it's definitely.
It's extremely hard not to like Jaren Kanak, and
He's
you
the
hope
man.
that he can find a role within this
Yeah.
offense. What a story that would be. I know that we talked about that going all the way back to the spring when the move was made official, right, to the tight end position. Another one of the guys that has come in and quickly kind of acclimated himself. We haven't talked about him just a ton here, but Marvin Jones Jr., a guy that obviously, he went to Georgia, he went to Florida State, comes in with plenty of experience at the D1 level, particularly at a big school like a Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Certainly seems like he might be one of those options when you're looking across the other side for more Mason Thomas.
Yeah, he kind of falls in that same category for me as Kendall Daniels, where, he's put some good stuff on tape, obviously very highly recruited, but, Florida State was terrible last year. And so you watch some of his tape from a year ago, and it's like, well, how much is him not, being on a good team part of it, or is it, a lack of, scheme, whatever it is. Like, it's kind of one of those things. It's like, well, what can he really bring to Oklahoma? And I think he's going to bring a lot. I mean, the experience, like you said, playing in big programs before, like this isn't a new stage. He's played in the SEC before. He played at a high level in the ACC. So I think he's somebody, Eddie, that brings a ton of experience to a room that really doesn't have a lot other than R. Mason.
Sure.
And he's a big dude. And so I think that he's somebody that could have a really good year for Oklahoma. And this is a big year for him because he wants to go to the NFL next year. He wants to get drafted, follow in his father's footsteps. He's really got to prove it this year. He's got a huge opportunity in front of him. It feels like, him, R. Mason, and Taylor Wine are kind of those three right now leading the way at defensive end. So I expect Marvin Jones Jr. to get a lot of snaps for Oklahoma.
Here is Marvin Jones Jr. talking about his time so far in Norman.
I would say seamlessly. It's been such a fun experience being here, these last 7 months. My teammates make it so easy to learn the calls. Communication is key here, so man, it's been everything I expected. It's been awesome. It's not always easy trying to lead, guys you just met. But man, I just go back to my experiences, try to help guys, through that. I've been through a lot of the things that these guys will go through in the future, so that's something I've been able to do is help guys through my experiences.
How much different has this transition been versus some of the other ones you've been through?
Yeah.
And what did you learn from those experiences that's helped you fit in and acclimate here?
It's hard for me to compare. Every situation is different. I just know since I've been here, I've just been loved on. Man, football, you almost forget that you're here playing football because how close you are with your teammates and stuff like that. So I don't really want to compare anything else. Like I said, it's just been awesome being here so far.
As we said at the top, Oklahoma off today, taking a little bit of a bye day, but they do have a scrimmage coming up, and you wrote about it a little bit this morning, what Brent Venables wanted to see. What do you think you want to hear from, scrimmaging on Saturday, the first major scrimmage of the fall?
Well, I think the first thing that comes to mind is John Mateer. How does this offense perform? Now, I'm not saying I want to hear that they just lit it up because that means the defense probably didn't play well. But I think you want to hear about certain guys playing well. You want to hear about the offensive line at least held up. I think back to last year, and I hate referring back to last year a lot, but you have to in this scenario. And I remember, hearing about the scrimmages, I don't think the offense scored in the scrimmage.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily something you want to hear. It was hard for them to get plays off last year, and the offensive line wasn't very good in the scrimmages last year. So I think that's something that you want to hear is you want to hear the offense was able to move the ball some. Some of these guys that have been maybe a little bit banged up participate in the scrimmage in some fashion. Maybe some of the guys you still hold out, like a Jaden Ott, I probably wouldn't have him out there. You probably don't need to play him. Derek Simmons, another one. But those are kind of the things you want to hear. And then some of the young corners. I want to hear, hey, Davon Jordan had a great pass breakup, competitive play. Reggie Powers, at safety made another big play. Those are the sorts of things at those positions where there's a lot of battles, there's a lot of competition. Who's standing out? Who had a good scrimmage? Those are the kind of things you don't want to hear about. A ton of interceptions or a ton of fumbles, penalties, things like that. are certainly things you don't want to hear. And I know Brent kind of said the same thing. And it sounds like special teams is going to be a big emphasis in these scrimmages as well.
No doubt about it. We will have updates on the Crimson Quarter. That's why you need to go join for $1, right?
$1.
And shout out to everybody that's joined here on the SoonerScoop.com YouTube channel. I know that we've had a tremendous amount of growth here over the first week of the preseason, and we'll be here the entire season.
Every day.
Looking forward to it. All right, we will talk to you on Friday. We'll be back here on Friday, taking a bunch of questions from the Crimson Corner, bringing them here to you for around the quarter that we usually kind of close out the week with, and then we'll go into the weekend with the scrimmage on Saturday. For George Stoya, I'm Eddie Radosevich. We'll see you back here on the SoonerScoop.com YouTube channel.